how the hell do you connect with like John Deere? Those riding lawnmowers or like the lawnmower equipment? Right away when I'm connecting, there's a couple souls that are speaking to me, all right? But first of all, I have a child that's coming through.
Well, I had a miscarriage.
Okay. Know that that soul is there, and your mom also passed as well?
Yes.
She's there with that soul. And then I also keep hearing I'm the father. I'm the father.
My husband and her father.
That's the one who's stepping forward. Your husband is here and your father is here to speak. So please know that your mom is with that child that you lost all those years ago. And please know that your dad is here. Now, first of all, I know this is really hard to communicate with him through me like this. And first of all, your father said to me, Matt, I'm only doing it this once. He said to me, and I'm like, what do you mean you're only doing it this once? He goes, I didn't like to be in situations like this. He goes, I didn't like to talk like this. He says, speak about myself like this. Even when your dad, started having health issues here in this world, I feel like he wouldn't let anyone talk to him about it. Is that true?
Right.
He's very closed off on that topic. But he said to me, Matt, I know that I need to do this today, because I know that I have to give my daughter and my wife what they need to heal. I gotta tell you, as his wife, your husband wants to let you know, first of all, thank you so much. Thank you so much. He keeps saying that to me because he shows me that everything that he went through in life, he pretended he wasn't afraid. He says, but Matt, he goes, I was terrified, he tells me. I was very nervous about anything that came up with my health. He says, and that when things would go on with his health, he tells me he would freeze up, like he wouldn't want to do anything about it because he'd get so afraid. Is that true?
Yes.
But he tells me that you took the reins on things, that because of you, you made your husband go to the doctors, get help, do all these things. And he's also telling me about you changing doctors for him. So did you change who he was seeing?
Yes.
He wants to thank you for that. Because he said to me, Matt, I would have died a long time ago if my wife hadn't fought for me the way that she did. And he also says to me that the two of you were true soulmates here in this world. He says to me, Matt, he goes, my wife's going to laugh. He says, because do you know back in the day, she didn't want to be with me? He tells me. Why didn't you want to marry him or be with him way back when?
Why? He was a playboy.
He tells me, you're telling me that. He tells me a different story. He tells me that when you first met him, you thought that he was like pompous. You thought that he was like, he was like full of himself.
Yeah, that's true.
He says, and Matt, do you know she still thinks that today? He says, because why do you call him an ass? He tells me you always say like, oh, he's such an ass. He's such an ass.
Yeah.
He hears you on the other side. But he says to me, Matt, he says, that's how we were. He says, that's the reason why our marriage was the way it was. It's the way that it's the reason why we loved each other so much.
53 years.
He says, because even though, he says, we used to put each other in our places, even though we used to go head to head with one another. He says, I loved her and she loves me. And do you know that he actually tells me this? He says, Matt, thank God I passed before her. He actually tells me he was planning on it. He tells me he was planning on passing before you. He says, because if I ever lost her, Matt, I would have never been able to live my life, he tells me. And do you know what's so tough about your husband was that you were searching for answers. You were searching for answers. You were searching for solutions. You were doing everything that you could to keep him alive. And it took everything from you. He shows me that this drained you and drained you and drained you because you were the person that your husband was looking for with everything. He says to me, Matt, he goes, through all that I had been through, he says to me that he chose to hang on. He shows me that. He says, and even though it was only for a little while, he says to me that he got to say his goodbyes here in this world. He actually tells me that he wants to thank you for the shirts that you kept of his. Did you keep shirts of his here in the physical?
Oh, yeah.
Because he's bringing that up. And he also tells me, he goes, Matt, he goes, what's really weird is he even kept a pair of my jeans. Where the hell's his jeans?
We still have all of his stuff. All of his stuff.
He shows me because he's like pulling out jeans in heaven when I'm connected and he's bringing this through. He says, Matt, I need my daughter and her mom to know that today is my way of validating that I did make it to the other side. Because the two of you question all the time. And he says to me, Matt, I've been trying my hardest to get through to them in different ways. And he shows me that one of the ways that he comes through to you guys is through dreams. So did you ever have dreams of him?
Always.
Know that that's his way. Know that that's his way of coming through and reaching you. And listen, if you don't get the dreams, it doesn't mean that he's not sending them to you. Sometimes we just don't remember. He says to me that this is his way of validating one thing. He may not have believed in the afterlife here in this world, but on the other side, he said to me, Matt, he says, I was going to make damn sure that I could reach them in any way that I possibly could. And that's what he's doing right here and right now. He's also telling me you were also working on something for your dad.
My tattoos.
What do you mean?
His handwriting tattooed on my arm. It says,
Perfect.
Love, Dad.
That's going to be what it is. Because anytime the spirit shows, you're going to remember, they communicate with me. They show me different symbols and different things. So when you were looking for handwriting, right? It's his way of letting you know that he saw that, because I kept seeing writings that were coming up when he's speaking to me. He's also telling me that he knows you have voicemails of his or little messages from him as well, because he's bringing that through. And he says to Matt, anytime they hear my voice, it reminds them of me. He says, please tell them not to cry. Please let them know that I am there in spirit and I am with them every day. And there's one other thing. Hold on, he keeps interrupting me. How the hell, right? It's gonna sound weird to you. It's weird to me. I've never seen this in a reading. How the hell do you connect with like John Deere? Those riding lawnmowers or like the lawnmower equipment?
Well, my daughter had to start cutting the grass after he passed, and he used to watch her out the window, and he said, I used to do that. You know, it hurt because he couldn't do it anymore.
He's so funny. He's in heaven, okay? He just showed me brand new. You know when you go to like Lowe's or Home Depot and they have like the John Deere, like the brand new lawnmowers in the front? He shows me like this beautiful lawnmower he's got in heaven. I don't know if that's what he liked. I don't know. I've never had a spirit show me that.
Oh yeah, he loved it.
He said to me, he goes, let them know I got a new one on the other side. Like, he's so proud of it. Like, he can have this in heaven. Like, most people would come through with like a Cadillac or a Mercedes. No, here's your father and your husband with the friggin' riding lawnmower on the other side. He goes, if you tell them this, Matt, they'll know that I actually made it to heaven.
Yeah.
He's saying to me that the one thing that he needs you to know in spirit is to always think of him as living his best life, being on that tractor, being outdoors, and know that he's always there and with you.
Right? Thank you.
Thank you so much. I'm going to leave you with that.